everyone. Welcome to another edition of SIMA Impact Chronicles, where we have been meeting some inspiring entrepreneurs who have been partnering with SIMA along as borrowers of our various funds, etc. So today I have another inspiring entrepreneur who has been doing a lot of interesting work in solar power. So today I'm joined by Anish Thakkar, who has co-founded Sun King, the world's largest provider of solar power for homes that live off the electric grid in 2008 with Patrick Walsh. The two met while studying at university and they continue to run the organization till today. Prior to Sun King, Anish worked with ZS Associates, the world's largest sales and marketing consultancy. Anish is a graduate of the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. So without further ado, let me bring him on.
Hi, Vivek.
Hey,
Thanks
Anish.
for having me.
Thank you for your time. And we have been meeting a lot of interesting folks like you yourself who have been doing fantastic work. Also, it's a privilege to be associated with you with the kind of work you do. So what I have is a set of 10, 12 questions for you. It's mostly about Sun King, the kind of vision you guys have, etc., and a little bit on the fund which you have been associated with SIMA. So if you're ready, we can start off.
Great, let's do it.
All right. So my first question, let's go back to the founding story. So can you share the founding story of Sun King and the vision behind the company's establishment?
Sure. So Sun King exists to serve homes that live off the reliable electric grid. So today that's about 800 million people who have no connection to any electric grid, and about another 800 million that live off the reliable electric grid. And these homes and small businesses, they use kerosene for light or gas generators, really carbon intensive sources for energy, for light, for device power. They also just can't access enough power to live a productive and happy and safe, secure life. So Sun King's mission today is to provide reliable, affordable, and high quality solar power to enrich lives and bring energy access to the entire world. We started at the University of Illinois, where Patrick and I met. And we started from what we learned in really a summer doing charitable work with an NGO called Engineers Without Borders. And Engineers Without Borders organizes teams of college students, typically engineers, to find a development project and to try to impact a community. And in our instance, we were working in an off-grid village in Orissa in India. And we spent the summer setting up a biodiesel generator to provide power to a community. And at the end of the summer, everything worked. 10 college students spent the summer setting up this whole generator and donated the equipment and the know-how. But at the end, we sort of realized the scale of the problem, but also that these charitable solutions just were really poor vehicles for scaling energy access. We could replace or provide power to one community with enough charity raised and enough engineering time of 10 college students and free summers donated, but that really couldn't scale to the hundreds of thousands of communities and the hundreds of millions of people. And so we left that summer experience thinking there must be a better way, and really turned to social business and ultimately to decentralized household scale solar systems as the solution. That was 15 years ago.
Fantastic. What a journey. Right. So, if I may ask, how has Sun King evolved and grown since its inception, and what any major milestones or achievements which you're really proud of?
We think about the company organized in sort of two chapters. The first was really a one focused on the technology. 15 years ago, the idea of using small-scale decentralized solar to provide electricity to off-grid homes to replace kerosene lamps was a pretty foreign and new and maybe somewhat radical idea. But the conditions were right. And the conditions were right because solar was becoming cheaper every day. Most of the solar panels being produced were very large panels that you'd put an array of them together to feed power to the grid. But you could scale that solution down to solar panels that are maybe the size of a hardcover book, right? And battery technologies were improving. So we really owe a big thanks to the growth of low-cost smartphones. Think of the small lithium-ion battery that existed in the Nokia brick phones that were sold
Right.
ubiquitously throughout the world 15, 20 years ago. Those
Right.
same battery technologies, miniaturized and small scale, are really the perfect storage solution for off-grid homes. And the third is
Right.
the advent of highly efficient LEDs for lighting. 15 years ago, LEDs were becoming, efficient, more and more efficient, meaning they provided more light per watt of power almost every 6 months. And so you
Right.
combine those three technologies together, and suddenly we could make a technology that, if you just engineered a product designed for the context of an off-grid home in a place like Orissa in India, or a place like Kenya or Nigeria or Zambia, understanding the household context, why an off-grid home, or how an off-grid home needs energy, needs lighting, what device power they need,
Right.
like phone charging. We could really make the right products. That was sort of the first chapter in the company. And we think of the first
Right.
8 years as really getting the technology right. But the
Right.
last 8 years is when we've been able to reach the most homes. And that's been driven by, one, building really lean and efficient last mile distribution. We have to get to off-grid homes, explain the virtues of solar, demonstrate that they
Right.
work in a way that off-grid homes understand and trust. But then we also have to finance this stuff.
Right.
A solar home system for a typical off-grid house in Kenya, uh, an off-grid house in Kenya might spend about $100 a year on kerosene for light,
Right.
and also on charging their phone. They'll go to a market town with a phone and spend money every few days to charge their phone. And a $100 solar home system actually can replace that completely and provide a lot more power and lighting for
Right.
multiple rooms. But $100 up front is a huge barrier to adoption, right?
Right.
So I'll bleed spending that money every day for a year, but I can't afford it up front. That's the difficult challenge. So the
Right.
sort of third piece was the financing. And so the financing has come together in a business model that now is known as pay-as-you-go, where
Right.
rather than paying $100 up front, a customer spends maybe $10, a small deposit. We install the system in the house and we activate it tied to their account with a payment plan, which might be something
Right.
like $3 a week and paid off over the course of, say, 40 weeks.
Right.
And at the end of each week, the system is out of balance. It shuts off until you top up the account for another week of balance to work for the next week, kind of like how a prepaid cell phone works.
Right.
And so those three pieces, the technology, really the first 8 years getting the technology right, the second 8 years getting the distribution and the financing right, those three pieces are really what have made, I think those have been the major evolutions of Sun King over the years, and
Right.
really the key pillars to making off-grid solar affordable to every off-grid home everywhere.
Right. I can only imagine the thought process that went behind this journey, right? Because I don't think anybody would have thought about pay as you go when Sunkin thought about it, right? Fantastic. Right. So I'm pretty sure this journey will not be possible without some challenges, etc. So, what specific challenges or barriers did Sunking face in providing energy access solutions to these underserved communities? And how did interventions like SIMA Funds, Off-Grid Solar, and Financial Access Fund contribute to overcoming these challenges?
So I can tell you about sort of the last 8 years in bringing pay-as-you-go solar to off-grid homes. So we
Right.
began in Kenya in 2016, and the first year of this pay-as-you-go solar operation was just about getting the fundamentals right. Learning how to
Right.
organize ourselves, how to set up the payment plans and the policies and the customer service, so that way we could access the most homes, make the systems the most affordable. We could provide the best service. But once that worked, once you can do that well and repeatably for the first 1,000 homes, and you're in a market where there's 15 million people that live off the grid, which is the experience of
Right.
Kenya. That was really the next big challenge. And
Right.
suddenly we had a need for a lot of debt. The business model relies on the idea that we can make solar. We can present an off-grid home with a solar solution. We say,
Right.
this thing works. We can install it for you today. You
Right.
pay a small deposit, and you pay each week as it works for you. So as you're saving from kerosene each week, you just put that savings into a payment for solar, and look, you pay this thing off over the course of the year. So at the end of the year, you own the hardware and it's free, right?
Right.
But every time we install that system and extend that purchase financing, that's cash out the door, right? That's essentially a loan we're pushing out the door. So, over the last 8 years, we've scaled this up from those first 1,000 households where this worked really well. Now, we've installed solar in over 6 million households. We've extended over $600 million of purchase financing directly to off-grid homes so that they can pay for their solar 1 week at a time. And unlocking the affordability of off-grid solar with pay-as-you-go has been the real key. But that suddenly requires a whole lot of debt. We become kind of like a bank in a sense, right? So we go from being a technology company and a distribution company into one that has to manage both the customer service operations and the sales and the supply chain, but also the credit and the treasury. And I'm using the word treasury, but when we were trying to figure out how to make these products work, I didn't understand what that meant. But what that means is we need cash in so we can put cash out, right? I need cash in from lenders so I can put cash out to off-grid families so that they can pay off their solar 1 week at a time. So, fundamentally, we've been working with SIMA now for coming on a decade, through this whole journey of pay-as-you-go. And I think throughout those years, SIMA's been just an incredibly flexible and helpful lender to us. The loans that SIMA provides to us, we get to use that cash to build the inventory, to bring it into markets, ultimately to install it into homes, and then allow them to pay it off 1 week at a time, which makes this affordable for virtually every off-grid home everywhere.
Right. I have been having these conversations with founders like yourself, and the words which they have shared, especially with the Energy Access Relief Fund. That's another fund of ours, which I think again Sun King is associated with. About the COVID difficulties companies in sub-Saharan region were facing, and it's amazing to hear these kind of things, stories of resilience. Right. So, just to get the depth of the effect, which has, you guys were able to do, how many people or families have Sun King provided energy access to, and how was the off-grid solar and financial access funds investment supported Sun King?
So to date, we've sold over 20 million solar products, which have gone to 18 million households and small businesses. Wow. So we count about 100 million users of our solar products, including approximately 1 in 5 households in Kenya. Right. So and a key part of that has been the ability to extend this purchase financing. The pay-as-you-go operation is, on one hand, we have this great ability to directly speak to a very high volume of off-grid homes and to extend the purchase financing. It's also a major jobs creator. So, the way that the pay-as-you-go operation works is that we have a very large team of company recruited, trained, and managed field agents. So today we have 24,000 field agents. Approximately 50% of our field agents are women. More than 50% of our agents are full-time, and they're invariably users first. So, they came across Sun King, they bought a pay-as-you-go Sun King solar home system to light up their own house, and then ultimately they become evangelists for Sun King within their communities. And this becomes a really major job opportunity in rural communities where, formal employment is pretty limited, and pretty often our agents become, the most sort of highest earning members of their communities, supporting not just their family, but indirectly many of their communities. And they do it by spreading solar in their communities. The power of our agent is that they can meet an off-grid home, they can show the product in person, which has, of course, like a real value. Seeing it, in the hardware is in front of your eyes is important. But also, our agents can say, look, I live down the road, or I live, 2 communities over, and I know you, or maybe I don't know you, but, maybe my brother, you can get back to me if you need to. And so you can trust me, right? I'm like you. I live off the grid like you. I bought solar. It's worked for me. It can work for you too. And that trust bridge is so powerful for making solar, for creating the belief in solar. But also now the system isn't, a customer says, yes, we install, they pay a deposit, we install the system in the house. We need to make sure that that solar system works for them every day, right? So we want to get paid back, and we get paid back as long as this thing is continuing to provide value for a customer every day. And having that
Right.
agent nearby is so key. Our agents provide the in-person, high-touch, friendly service that customers need. If your solar panel gets covered in dust and you're not getting you're not getting a great experience, our agent comes by and helps you off. They climb on the roof, they brush it off, and they explain, okay, here's how you should keep this thing, working, so you get the best value out of it
Right.
in the long term. That local trust bridge is such a key part of making solar, driving solar adoption for off-grid homes. But also, these jobs are amazing. We have
Right.
2,700 on-roll staff, and more than half of them started as or close to half of them started as agents. And so we have this career path where, I'm a Sun King customer first. This thing works well for my family. I become an agent. I create a good earning opportunity for myself and my family, and then I have a career path that if I do well, then
Right.
maybe I'm a field manager and I operate a store or a branch, and over time I become a supervisor or a
Right.
field trainer or a technician or customer service executive. All these career paths that have just evolved over the last 10 years and really are creating incredibly high skilled and valuable, really green jobs
Right.
in parts of the world where I think the green transition needs to be really prioritized.
Right. Right. Absolutely. This is like changing life on various levels, actually. First, by bringing light and access to energy, and then career-wise as well. All right. So, my next question is, how has the association with the Off-Grid Solar Fund positively affected Sun King's financial stability and long-term sustainability?
It absolutely has. I think one of the unique how I'd characterize our relationship with SIMA has been that SIMA has been the financing partner that understands our business, our customers, the consumer credit environment that we're in really well, and that's really key. What companies like Sun King are doing, and others in our industry are doing, is we're bringing consumer financed solar to homes that have largely no credit history, right?
Right.
And we're financing solar for consumers that haven't experienced solar before in markets where the solar penetration is very low. So the
Right.
technology is new, the consumer financing environment is very new, and also there's this fundamental difference when we compare this to, say, rooftop solar businesses in, say, the U.S. or the West.
Right.
That's that a lot of the global pools of debt capital that are available to finance this this green transition around the world, they're in hard currencies, but
Right.
our customers are earning and paying in a local currency. They're paying in Kenyan shillings or Nigerian naira, same in kwacha, and
Right.
FX risks, FX mismatches are a big challenge in this business.
Right.
The other characteristic of this industry is that it's very multi-jurisdictional, right? 770 million off-grid homes. We started in
Right.
Kenya, but Kenya is 2% of the world's global off-grid population, right? So for
Right.
us to succeed in our mission, we have to bring off-grid solar to many, many more countries. And
Right.
so every new market we enter, there's a jurisdiction learning or issue, and then there's this FX issue. And so if we approach a local bank in each of these markets, the traditional lender says, okay, Sun King, it's great you're here in Zambia.
Right.
Come back to me when you have 4 or 5 years of financial statements in Zambia, right?
Right.
And a traditional banks and lenders are incredibly important. They can't learn every
Right.
industry, and so they take a traditional and kind of old school approach. But
Right.
what SEMA does that's different is that it fundamentally understands the off-grid solar industry. It understands the data, the consumer repayment data. Fundamentally, it understands the characteristics of organizations like ours in the industry,
Right.
and so it can come in and provide loans much earlier in our life in each new market that we enter, and that's been a
Right.
really key component of being able to spread pay-as-you-go solar to off-grid homes. We have to be able to bring this business model not just to develop it at scale in Kenya, but to be able to replicate it and scale it to 40 new off-grid markets. And that path
Right.
would be fundamentally far, far slower if we didn't have flexible and really lenders like SIMA who had a very high contextual understanding of the industry and its behavior.
Absolutely, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Right. So you touched upon this, but I want to just touch upon it again. Is could you provide some examples of how the associated SIMA or the off-grid solar fund has helped you create local job opportunities and empower folks within the target communities?
Fundamentally, our in fulfilling our mission of bringing pay-as-you-go solar to off-grid homes, we
Right.
create a lot of jobs. Right.
Absolutely.
So today we operate our PayGo business in 10 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. We have over 300 branches, and we staff those branches with employees. And each of our branches has about 80 agents. That
Wow.
50% of our agents are women. More than 50% of our agents are full-time, and our agents come into the branch, they pick up inventory, then they go out into their communities, say 2, 10, 20, 30 kilometers away, and they make solar available. They find customers, they install the products, they service them on an ongoing basis, and they make a really strong livelihood and career in doing that. And so over the last 8 years, as we've expanded our PayGo operation, we've expanded employment to over 24,000 field agents in 10 countries and 2,700 employees.
Wow.
Nearly all of our employees are in the 10 markets where we operate directly. And so we're creating, not just rural employment for our agents, but also in our country head offices. We're creating really high-skilled jobs in data science, in credit, and in operations and customer service, in product design and engineering and technical service. And that requires an incredible amount of skilling because this is a very new sector, right? And so we put a lot of investment into developing our staff so that they can take on these more advanced roles. All of that is, it's part of the engine that brings affordable PayGo solar to homes, and that engine relies on our ability to extend purchase financing to homes. So how a lender like SIMA fits into this is that by enabling the finance, by providing us with loans that we can then extend on to off-grid homes so they can purchase solar paying 1 week at a time, we can expand our operations, we can employ more agents, and ultimately create jobs and careers for tens of thousands of people in a new and emerging field that's just important, not just in these countries. The green transition, solar jobs are important, not just in the 10 countries we're in, but globally to abate carbon emissions.
Absolutely. It's all interconnected if you look at it. That's fantastic. Right. My last question before I leave you, is about, what are Sun King's future goals and aspirations, and how do you envision the continued partnership with firms like SIMA Funds contributing to achieving these goals?
So today we're in 10 markets in 10 countries. We're in 10 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. But if we look at where are the world's 770 million off-grid families, off-grid people, they're spread across more than 40 different countries. So, to act on our mission to bring affordable, high-quality solar to every off-grid home everywhere, we must expand. We must be able to sustainably and with good credit quality extend our solar offerings with purchase financing to many more markets. And ultimately that requires innovative lenders like SIMA that we can partner with as we enter each of those markets. So we really see our relationship with SIMA, over the last 10 years, it's been key in enabling the growth of pay-as-you-go solar over the last 10 years, but we hope and we expect that the partnership will only grow as we continue to make this technology available to more homes.
Absolutely. I was particularly excited about building the impact story of Sun King, because Sun King is one of those special companies in our portfolio, and it's amazing the kind of work you're doing, and it was amazing to hear from you directly. Thank you so much for your time, Anish, today. And I look forward to publishing this impact story as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Vivek. Thanks for the partnership. To really everyone at the
Thank you.
SIMA team, we appreciate it.
Thank you. Right, that was Anish Thakkar, founder of Sun King. Such an exciting journey, like all the other stories we have been hearing. I can't wait to publish this impact story and this Chronicle video on our YouTube channel and the website very soon. Keep tuning in. There are more exciting people coming on this sessions like this, and keep supporting them. And SIMA, as a company, we are proud to be associated with such exciting entrepreneurs and their vision. Thank you so much. See you soon.